So giant spiders are going to start falling from the sky. It's great. It's awesome. You know, why wouldn't we want that to happen ever? Saw on the news, CNN, you know, the best news station ever, was talking about, and you should have saw the guy that they had describing this. He looked like if Bret Michaels from Poison was a spider catcher, that's what this guy looked like. So great source of information. He was saying, this Bret Michaels spider guy was saying that the East Coast over the next, within the month, will be bombarded by giant spiders falling from the sky. How they know that, I don't know. You know, meteors hit all the time, and we can't even tell when that's going to happen. You know, I think one hit yesterday. There was nothing about it on the news or anything. But we know, or they know, that spiders are going to start falling from the sky. So they're ahead of that. And I guess all the webbing in the sky that looks like spider webs, that wouldn't have anything to do with it, obviously. You know, the fact that they drop mosquitoes and other types of invasive species into areas like Florida or Texas, you know, almost yearly, and they barely ever talk about that, you know, but they're not dropping spiders from the sky, I promise you. It's not coming from a plane. This is a natural thing that never happens ever. So just craziness, absolute craziness. But let's talk about these joro spiders for 2 seconds here. As far as I know, they stem from China, Japan, so they have an interesting mythology in China also. They call them the Nephilim, I don't know, it's got some weird scientific name, but the name Nephilim is very interesting. And I'm assuming it's because they're giant, but the fact that Nephilims are going to be falling from the sky kind of sounds a little biblical, but who knows? The thing that's really weird about these guys is their webbing, and their webbing is ridiculous. I've seen evidence that their web can catch a hummingbird. That's how strong their webs are. So that's freaking crazy, man. But they apparently go after stink bugs. And, you know, I've been looking into stink bugs for a long time. I've looked in a lot of reports for them, trying to figure out what they are, because they just should not exist, in my opinion. And nothing I could find that was a predator to it. You know, it seemed like nothing ate stink bugs. I've even seen birds like spit them out and not even want to mess with them because something's not right with them. But apparently this joro spider does eat stink bugs. So everywhere that's been infested with stink bugs over the last couple of years, get ready. The thing that's interesting is these joro spiders have been in Georgia and Tennessee. You know, there's reports over the last 5 months that these things have already been invading and causing major problems. Just the fact, like, I saw this woman, she was filming as she was going into her town from her car, and just everything, all the trees, especially the electricity wires, were all covered in spider webs. And that's very interesting because that goes back to what Aaron Dover was talking about a long time ago, is how birds and insects, especially spiders, because of their exoskeleton, they like to hang on the electricity wires, and they're just like absorbing all that electricity. It's so cool and weird at the same time. But that's the first thing I think of when I see that is, And there's a great video. Just type in Aaron Dover spiders electricity or something like that, and you'll see what I'm talking about. You know, it's clear as day that they do that, and from what I can tell, birds do it also. Very, very strange how they can take that electricity and just absorb it. But, you know, going back to these spiders, like, you know, are these genetically engineered spiders? Because they can do that. They have done that. You know, the military works with genetically engineering spider webs to make, you know, Teflon and things that are, you know, useful for, you know, armor and other, you know, types of rope and stuff like that. So, you know, are these genetically engineered? I would assume they are. I would assume stink bugs are too, but, you know, who can... Stink bugs to me look like some sort of Egyptian thing that should not exist anymore. So either they were dormant for thousands of years or whatever, and they just started springing up. Maybe these joro bugs are the same, or joro spiders are the same. Maybe they've just been dormant. But the fact that they're going to be falling from the sky, and the fact that they're warning us that they're falling from the sky, tells me there's something very fishy going on here. There's weird mythology behind these spiders also that the Chinese talk about. The Chinese say that they can transform into a beautiful princess and lure a lover into, you know, into a spot where they can capture them and devour them. So that's like, so the Chinese mythology is that they can transform into a princess and attract a lover and then just eat the crap out of the lover. So that's kind of cool. It's good to know. I love the fact that they can transform. That's pretty cool. And, you know, that just gets into the archons and, you know, the astro spiders and things that people talk about in the 4D, you know. And if 4D and 3D are merging, we're going to see entities we've never seen before. But, you know, they're probably ancient and they've probably always been here. It's just now they're making themselves known. So it makes sense to me. You know, it makes sense that we're going to see pests and parasites that it's time for them to make themselves known here. But yeah, going back into the archons, you know, they're always associated with spiders. You know, you got the same root word with, you know, archons and you know, arachnophobia. You know, it's like, it's arc and arc, you know. And, you know, there's channels that have been showing things like giant spiders in the sky for years. You look into Baal, he's usually represented in a spider form. But yeah, that it brings me to what I saw about 4 years ago. I was working in I was working at Trader Joe's, and the parking lot they have there is about 2 football fields full of concrete. You know, it's huge, and there's very little trees around. The whole area, you know, there's a forest preserve a mile and a half down the road. So, you know, there are wooded areas, but nothing around this area could produce what I saw. I was walking out from work. This was probably like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was right between spring and summer. And as I'm walking in my car, I started looking at other cars because, you know, there was like a white, you know, haze along all these cars. It was a sunny day, so it stood out. And I started noticing that there's little baby spiders all over everybody's car. I get to my car, and my car is loaded with baby spiders. You know, I didn't even want to get in. It freaking was disgusting. So I'm looking around. I see about, 30, 40 spiders on my car. Little tiny spiders. I look on the cars next to me, same thing. There's just I start walking towards the edge of the parking lot, spiders. I just walk through the other side of the parking lot, spiders. Spiders for at least 2 football fields length of this parking lot. And I'm telling you, there is nothing around that could have produced that. So either those spiders were dropped from the sky, or something was, not right. I've seen the evidence that a spider can shoot a web and carry itself, and then, I'm sure it could carry itself for pretty far. I have no doubt about that, judging on the height it was at and the wind speed. I have no doubt a spider can do that. I've seen it. It makes sense. These joro spiders are really good at doing that too, according to what they say. But what I saw, that could not be explained by just a parachuting couple spiders. There was hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands of spiders in this area. And I don't think that's a large estimation. From what I saw, each car, there was probably thousands I didn't see that were underneath on the ground or whatever. But the entire parking lot was covered. So how can thousands of little baby spiders shoot enough webs to carry all of themselves through 2 football fields length of a concrete parking lot? It did not make sense. So to me, they were dropped from the sky from probably an airplane or some sort of government thing or whatever, or whatever webbing we're seeing in the sky actually is carrying parasites. But that goes back to the first video that I made, when I started seeing all the blue lights and street lights that are just changing their light spectrum. They're going from white to blue. To me, that means there's going to be something that it's going to attract to the blue light. Because when you drive by these blue lights now, there's no little bugs floating around them. I don't think bugs like that light, but something will. Some sort of entity will like that light spectrum. And from what I could tell, it makes sense that parasites that are in the fourth D or a light spectrum different than ours will start being attracted to that blue light. That's the first thing I can think of. So I do think we will see pests and parasites that we've never seen before, and the old parasites are, they're going to be gone because they won't be able to survive here anymore. If these things eat stink bugs, then something's very wrong with them. They're not poisonous, or they won't bite. People shouldn't be scared of them, but something's not right with these things. And their web is extremely strong. You could play it like a guitar string. I'm telling you, it can house a hummingbird and cocoon a hummingbird. So, you know how powerful those wings are of a hummingbird. Another interesting point, and this will be the last thing I say, is that these spiders mark their territory by, stringing leaves from, like they'll shoot their web, grab a leaf, and then dangle a leaf, like when you're if you're walking in the woods and you see like leaves just kind of floating in the middle of air or twisting and turning, look to see if there's a spider web connected to it. And if you do see that, that's probably a joro spider's domain. But man, that sounds just like witchcraft to me. That that's how they always represent witches and things that live in the woods. If you look at Blair Witch Project, or like, these things mark their territories by dangling sticks and things in certain shapes to let you know that what you're walking into. So I find that very fascinating too. It's like these things have a very big connection to some deep mythology and archon-like behavior. So, good times. Should be a great summer. Take care.